Hi, welcome. Thanks for tuning in today, and thanks for following this the series of knowledge and investment. And in my previous videos, we discussed about importance of investing. Second video is on inflation. Third is the mistakes I made, and then what we could learn of taking a discipline of investing. Now, all is fine, but then where to invest? This is something that we need to ask ourselves, and let's try to understand in this video where to invest and what are the resources which is available to all of us so that you can take your own calls based on wherever you stand. Now, what are the opportunities do we have as we speak in many forms? And it's not that it was not there 40 years ago or 20 years ago. It was there, but then it was not educated enough. I wish my father would have invested 10,000 rupees Nifty when I was born. This is a simple example that we could take for each and every birthdays of our kids. Instead of buying the toys which can damage less than a period of time. I'm not saying that you should not buy the toys to your kids, but what I'm saying is that if you wisely invest, okay, if you have 20,000, 10,000 you spend for your party for your kids and a birthday, within 10,000 you just take it out, just dump it in somewhere, and any of these forms which will give the returns for that particular kid if she is around, or if you're around, probably that will help you in a different forms, with the increased rate of inflation. So let's try to understand what are the ways and what was the these some of the data I could collect, but then maybe you can do your research and see based on these how much you if you're keen and interested enough to understand on a specific subject, this information is available everywhere. So this is some of the facts which I've gathered with the of course with the online information. But then let's try to understand where are the opportunities we have as we speak, and what is the way forward. Now let's say, for example, all of us know, or definitely pretty much all of you know what's a saving account, and if you start a job, the first thing they open is a savings account or regular account where you can money get in. Let's not say it as a savings account. So in a savings account, and pretty much in 1999, we were getting the rate of interest of 3%, which provided that you keep that money 15 to 45 days, and you have a very much easy option that it is not blocked or anything. So anytime you want, you can take, but then interest does calculate based on even today whatever the money you keep. So today's rate is about 5.5%. If it is a private bank, probably they will give you 1% more. But the public banks probably will give you a little bit lesser. But then most of the time, people want to have a safe bet, so pretty much they go open the public sector banks, which is authorized by the government. So let's talk about the fixed deposit. Fixed deposit back in 1999, the rate of interest was about 9%. Now, as we speak, it's fluctuating between 6, 7, somewhere. Again, it's based on, it depends on bank to bank. But don't forget the returns what you make on a fixed deposit, end of the year you need to declare a tax, so you pretty much lose almost 2%, 1.7 to 2% on the interest what you make. And it doesn't matter even if you make it 100 rupees, then they will take that percentage of from that from the deposits what you get. So always watch out when you think about this saying 7%. Don't get fooled by yourself, because at the end of the day it's all recorded, and end of the day you need to pay those taxes. Now, post office being good, again, when you're talking about the fixed deposits, you minimum lock-in period is 1 year to 5 years, 3 years. And then based on that time frame, the rate of interest always increases. Now let's talk about the post offices. Pretty much those who is retired and 60 plus, they get a bit of more interest than the regular thing. Again, it's locked 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So the highest being now probably I see 8% is what the post office gives you. If you're retired, if you are the age, those have a little bit of margin. If you cross 60 years plus, you get a little bit of more interest thanks to that. Now, the government bonds is basically debt funds. Basically, the government assures you that to leave today, 1 lakh with us, don't worry, nothing will happen. And then rest assured, whichever the maturity of the bond, you get an average of 2 to 3%. 2.48 is being the highest so far. So it fluctuates that because pretty much that's a safest investment that you could do. You don't want anything. So then comes your mutual funds. Lately, it's been a topic of the the industry. Mutual funds. Again, everything. No one does anything for free on these ones because either you're paying the charges, hidden charges, or you're paying the taxes, XYZ. So mutual funds comes due with the mutual funds works in a different way. So basically, mutual fund and the stocks are directly linked together. But then it's same like a professional doctors. There are financial doctors who is in that field. They're working on it on every day. But then of course, each and every policy or the fund you take, there is a charges anywhere between 1% to 2% if it's a direct funds, XYZ. So you'll get to know in case if you really get into a mutual funds is actually also one of those safest investment. But then average returns is being an average of the average industry strength per 20 years is about 6%. The 6% is pretty much what you can get everywhere, but then year on year it is, it's going further. It depends on again which fund you choose. It's same like which stock you're going to choose. It's same like choosing a pretty much lucky stocks. So out of 1,000 stocks, probably if you pick one diamond and if you stay invested for 40 years, same like Infosys, which I had mentioned, from the time it started, it's given a wonderful and great results. But then are you willing to stay that long knowing that that's going to grow up? It's very difficult, challenging for a common man for you and me to find the best stocks. So that's different subject. We'll take it all together. So mutual funds and stocks are directly correlated. The mutual funds are the fund managers who invest in blue chip companies or small caps and mid caps and bonds, etc. So they allocate a certain funds and they keep moving it in a year or two based on how they performing. So they have, again, it has its limit set by the government also, so that you do have enough of stability. But then you need to keep watching because it's basically you're giving away money to someone else to manage who is called to be a professional in the industry. But then again, you need to follow and observe the trends where your money is getting in. So mutual funds, gold and silver. Gold and silver is one of the wonderful instruments. So first, just to give you the small example, and back in 1979, 1 gram of gold was 93 rupees. That is exactly where I bought 40 years ago. And as we speak in 2009, each gram of gold is 3,800 rupees. So if you complicate, say for example, my dad had 1 lakh rupee at that time, so he started, he thought of investing in a gold. So this is what it gives you. Now if it is a 1 lakh at the rate of 93 rupees, my dad will get about 1,000 and pretty much 1 kg, 1,075 grams basically, and calculate that amount, you get pretty much 41 lakhs for 1 lakh. Now say fast forward real estate. All of us know, some of you know, real estate is the best investment that you could do. What you could buy for 40 years ago, don't go too far. 40 years ago, 10 years ago, if you invested some property, some place in Bombay, example, like, or Delhi, pretty much the returns are in a high returns. But again, it's not that we, end of the day, we think about just to have a house for ourselves and we keep paying that interest for about 30-40 years. By the time you reach this, even the property may go, but then you already paid exactly what is it costing as we speak. But then real estate is a good bet and a good returns it gives you if you are good enough to make it one or two for investment purposes or rental purposes or whatever it is. Now comes the stocks, NSE, BSE. So again, it's one of the greatest returns that you can get. But again, if you're not sure about that, don't do it, because I'm not sure about it. I don't do it because it's a different world altogether. But then if you have a consistent performance, there are some great returns you can expect just by staying invested for a long time. Either it could be lucky enough to pick the right stocks, or it could be that you just invest in them stock changes. Just to give you a small example, NSE, BSE, NSE, pretty much, at the BSE at the 1979 started with 100 rupees. Now, as we speak, each particular, what does it say? BSE is like, top 30. They value considering the top 30 most performing stocks in terms of value, in terms of the stocks which they hold, which also directly or indirectly drives the economy of the country. So the top 30 or top 50, I think NSE does top 50 and BSE is top 30. That's Sensex. So Sensex, as we speak today, in 2009, it's about 40,653, and it's never been a straight road from 1979 to 2019, because there are so many fluctuations based on too many newses, and it goes up, down, up, down. But you don't need to worry if you are staying long enough, because it's all driven by the people. And even though that actual stock may not change anything, a small news can go either extremes to the high or extremes to the low. And there are many things which can come to that topic in a later stages. So if you invest that, just same 1 lakh, 1979, pretty much, you can get 1,000 stocks of BSE. BSE at that time, 1,000 stocks, and as we speak, you make easily 4 crores. So how come that 1 lakh is gaining 4 crores straight up just by 40 years? So basically, this is what inflation does, and this is what investing does to you. In terms of expenses, inflation affects your life in terms of expenses, and staying long enough in terms of investment will give you extremely high returns. So, but on average, if NSE or BSE, if you take it out, they're giving the returns of 17 to 80%, or 16 to 17% on a yearly. So, end of the day, so these are the places where you can invest, and these are the opportunities, and wherever your risk, wherever you can see yourself, the younger you start, the better it is. So wherever you think that you fit in. Now, there is a thumb rule that you should always follow, irrespective of whichever the stage of life you are in, that make sure that you have at least 1 year of your current expenses. So 10,000 rupees is your monthly expense. So 1 year of your expenses is 1,20,000 rupees. That should go to your emergency fund. Either you put it in a savings or fixed. So that is fixed pretty much again, if you remove that in between like 6 months, then probably you lose everything. So I would suggest you can just leave it in a savings fund, and you can just, or maybe you have a different account where you can cut down that ATM card and then just throw it out, and then you just take the money only when for emergencies. Still you get a 4% interest out of it. That is something that you need to do, because life is very unpredictable, and you have to because particularly if you're working for private jobs, never know when you're going to lose your job, or never know how much of gains you're going to get. It's as I said, it can go either way. So if you have a family, if you're a bachelor, it's quite good enough. But then if you're a family of 4, keeping whatever the monthly expenses, make sure you have a 12 months corpus fund for your emergencies. That is first way too. So even if you on a downtime, if you lose a job, till the time you find and get back to the rhythm, so that would be able to help you. Now, once you move out of that, and any savings is something that you need to understand where you want to fit yourself. End of the day, all of us want a comfortable life, and we want everything for easy. Which is unfortunately not the case. You had to work hard for whatever you are today. Unfortunately, unless until you have businesses which was inherited from your parents and your families, you still need to be able to manage it properly. Otherwise, that can go either ways. It's a competition. There's a lot that you need to continue to do. The better you do. And you can refer to many of the family-owned businesses and where it is today to where it was. So we'll come to that differently. So the most important thing is from this today topic, these are the opportunities where you can invest. Again, I'm not suggesting that this is where you should invest. And these are the opportunities wide open for you. You do your research and figure it out where you can fit yourself. And the next video, we're going to talk about why we need to invest and what are the opportunities I'm talking about. These are the opportunities around you, and what is a positive outlook of why this from here 100 to it went to 40,000, why the gold went from here 93 rupees to 3,800, and some of these, and why the loans are not going down. Because if you look back, I see 10 years past data, and SBI was offering a home loan for 9%, and today it's pretty much you can get the same thing. Why? Because they want you to borrow money. I'm not referring SBA, but any banks want to borrow you money so that they get your interest paid for the specific things, and that's how the money is generated for the banks. So with that note, I would like to leave it today, and have a wonderful day ahead, and stay tuned, stay blessed. Let's explore tomorrow on why we think that there is a lot of opportunities ahead moving forward. Thank you. Stay blessed, stay tuned, wait for another video. Thank you much.